That's the theme music.
We gotta come up with a new one.
When I gave them the new stuff, they didn't like it. They said they wanted the old stuff.
The new year. I think I might write a verse or something, man.
Oh man, we waiting on it, man. The people been waiting on it, bro. Oh, it's that new late night hip hop live.
It might be time for that D-boy verse.
I mean, that's what the people want, man.
It may be time to brush off the skills and the rust and just go in on a brand new D-boy verse.
That's what the people want, bro. That's what the people want. That's what they need. Are you ready? I'll tell you what. Let's do it. Number one, welcome to the first Late Night Hip Hop Live of 2021. You got your boy Bruce Lively right here.
And I'm D-Boy Slim.
You know what it is. Listen, people, brand new format, brand new everything. We will not be missing the basement debates. We're coming with that maybe once a month with all 4 characters hosted by Sonia. But this is Late Night Hip Hop Live. We're going to get into it. I know that you saw the title. The title specifically says Arsonal versus Murda Mook. Can this happen? We're going to talk about it. How do we hear about it? Is it in the mix or is it just a fantasy? Do we want to see it? D-Boy, these are the questions. You know, look, what is it going to look like? Stylistically, these are the questions people want answered, my friend. I believe that you may have some of them answers, man. We'll talk about it. But before we even get into that, matter of fact, let's play the riot music, because that's what we got to talk about. They're rioting, people. You got to play that riot music. That's all I'm saying. We got to get it off our chest. What happened last Wednesday was a travesty.
Debacle.
Many of you, if not all of you, have seen the footage. You know what happened. A bunch of crazy right-wing terrorists led by the terrorist leader in chief.
Donnie Boy.
Right.
That's Donnie. That's your boy Donnie.
Whipped them up into a frenzy. I think you had the perfect name for it, D-Boy. It was hyenas. Hyenas. I know that's copywritten by the radio station over there. Has it be in them? But no, they were animals. Scaling wall. They climbed the walls. What up, Jeff Champion? Yo, they climbed the walls of a building like Spider-Man. Like this was straight out of a movie. One of those zombie movies. That Z movie. We just hordes of insane, non-thinking people climbing walls and scaling fences. I'm gonna let you get it off your chest, man. Talk about it, man. Please talk about it.
Incredible. I won't hold y'all up. I'm not sure what I found to be more disturbing. I'm not sure if the actual maniacs climbing the wall was more disturbing, or the lack of resistance from law enforcement allowing radicals to invade the Capitol. Not only in Atlanta, where you had the Senate runoff, but also in Washington, D.C.
And Arizona, and many other capitals. But Washington, the capital of the United States.
And so, like I said, I'm not quite sure what was more nasty. Was it, obviously I've never seen anything like that in my lifetime, where you, after the president loses the election, he continues with what they're calling now the insight of these animals by continuing to lie to the people publicly about him losing.
Yep.
And his thing is that the election was rigged up somehow and somehow somebody cheated. But it's baseless. None of that is based on any facts. There's no evidence to prove anything as such. It's gone to many courts throughout the country. Every court has basically thrown it out with ease, with a lot of ease.
Yeah.
And that's because there's basically, and like I said, that's basically because it's baseless. There's no evidence to support those claims, and you're just looking like a sore. It's just looking like a sore loser. Well, now, fast forward until a few days ago, and the guy continues on with his nonsense, and this results in people actually dying. So we went from the reason why this country is grand and special and stands out amongst other countries around the world and us having a democracy to us looking like we live in a dictatorship or anarchy and a third world country or something. Like, I don't know who gave them. Well, I do know who gave them the memo. That would be Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Where you get a memo and says, well, let's just storm the Capitol because ultimately the results don't change. Like the only question now is how do we get this idiot out the office
faster than he was already leaving?
It doesn't change the overall results, which is Biden is the president-elect.
Yep.
And people actually had to die this time, sadly enough, because this guy inciting the riot. This guy, and like I said, I'm not sure. And then the more I think about it, I think maybe the resistance from because that leads you to believe there's some type of conspiracy. There was some type of setup. This was planned and staged. This was orchestrated.
What up, BJ Holloman? Yeah.
That's the only conclusion you can come to about why there was so little resistance from law enforcement as it pertained to radicals invading the Capitol. Like that's the only conclusion that can be drawn from that, because we all know, and as the president-elect stated, when there was the Black Lives Matter movement, it looked like we were about to go to war.
They had
totally different.
They had flak jackets, long rifles, and M16s. They had helmets with the goggles protecting the Lincoln Monument, of all things that black people wouldn't do anything to.
I'll throw it to you, Bruce. At this point, speaking as somebody that's been in the military, yeah, man, and we spoke off air briefly about it, and I know you were quite disgusted as someone who's actually, represented the country and fought and defended the country. So, yeah, like I said, I've never seen anything like that, and like I said, the fact that there was so little resistance from law enforcement when these white, and I'm going to call it what it is, white radicalists or white radicals, invaded the and Trump supporters, because I can't say they were all white, because I did see a couple black idiots there too.
Yeah.
But
invaded
the Capitol. Invaded the Capitol.
So let's,
as it stands now, I know there's been talks about the FBI, looking into, charging Donald Trump. I know Iraq has issued a warrant for Donald Trump. All his social media accounts have been suspended, and I guess we're just trying to find the next best solution as to getting this guy out of here, and hopefully he doesn't have any more influence, and no more of this nonsense will continue.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your take on it. Again, like I said, as somebody that's actually served in the military.
I'm going to try to address all of that. Let's start with what you just said. he won't have any more power. The deal is, I saw a video, I actually put it up in my Karen videos, where after he called people to go home, they were all in such a frenzy. They said, well, Donald Trump's not always right. We're here, we're right. And continued to go. Because what you find out is he doesn't need any more power. What he's done is create a freight train that won't be stopped. Now, I mean, can be stopped, but I'm saying as far as the movement itself, this started with the Tea Party and got bigger. Then the Proud Boys, and then everything else that you could possibly come up with. And then straight up Nazis walking around statues in Charlottesville, North Carolina. So what you find out is, or South Carolina, what you find out is the monster that has been unleashed will always eat you last. Meaning they're gonna kill Donald Trump at some point. I mean, because the minute that he decides that it's not advantageous for him and he tries to say something else and say, well, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore or this and that, it's now too late. They're gonna say, forget that. We need a new leader. We need someone else to keep this frenzy going because it becomes its own freight train. And I also think that he knows that he has this power of the people, 20% of the country at least. A poll just came out where 46% of Republicans said, polled now, there's two different polls, 46% of Republicans said that they don't see anything wrong with this. They don't see anything wrong with what happened on Wednesday. Some of them said, like 28% said they agree strongly with it, and the rest of the percentages said they agree a little bit with it. Do you guys realize what that means? Like 20% of the country, half of Republicans, think storming the Capitol is just all right. No big deal. You can't put that back in the bottle. Trump can't put that back in the bottle. He didn't know what he was unleashing. He was the only one stupid enough to do it. Every other president in our history, no matter how bad or good they were, knew the secret to this thing. There's a secret. Ask any political scholar. The secret is simple, easy transition of power. Washington said it. That's why he left. George Washington, that's why he left after his second term. They wanted him to do 3 or 4. They wanted him to be king. He said, no. We need the people to see how democracy works, and they will fall in line. The first time you don't do it, it's over. The first time you don't do it, you can't put that back. I.e. the Civil War, and 150 years later, the Confederate flag is still getting brought into the Capitol on a rebellion. That's how hard it is to put back. 150 years later, we still have remnants of that time. This is going to be with us and stick to us for quite a while. And I wanted to prepare you guys for that. Number 2, as someone who's been in the military, I can tell you, there are all types in the military. There is probably some military people there storming the Capitol. But they were off duty. The one thing I do know is when you're on duty, you actually follow rules. You follow rules, you listen to instructions, or people die. That's the motto. No matter what, you put your feelings aside and you do what it is your mission is told to do. Now, I'm disgusted. Those people that may have done that, they're not my brothers. Most people in the military will tell you that what they saw is an actual affront to everything that they fought for, lost limbs for. We've never let anybody come into this country and storm our capital. No foreign country has ever been able to do it. And it turns out the way we fall is from our own people on the inside. It's blasphemous. It's disgusting. It strikes at the heart of everything that we fought for. The flag is not an idol. You see, an idol is something you can put your own values on and worship it. The flag has its own set of values already, and they've gotten rid of all of them and turned it into an idol. The flag, American flag, now means white supremacist nation. It's not what it was supposed to stand for. It's not the ideal it stood for. That's all I can say about that. Next, the last thing, the police who let these people in. What it does is speak to even a deeper level. You understand that most of these a lot of people in that group were police officers. A lot of people in that group showed their police badge in order to gain access into the building with a crowd behind them. Yeah, a lot of police are going to let them in. And the ones who are trying to do right, the ones who are on duty trying to follow orders, don't really think it's that important. And the ones that do think it's that important are outnumbered. They're outnumbered. Most police think that Black Lives Matter is an affront to them, and this other crazy hyena movement is the opposite of that. So they go with it no matter what they're doing. To them, it's considered self-preservation. You understand what I mean? To them, that's the only fight they have against Black Lives Matter actually holding them accountable. They can't just go in houses and shoot people anymore. What? People can't just tell us to shut up and we can't slap them around. People have the freedom of speech. We can't pull people over whenever we want to. That type of power is addictive. And when someone goes against that power or fights back on that power, you'll be surprised at the disgusting crap and how far they're willing to go. A lot of people in that group were police officers, showed their badge, is what we have, and this is actual evidence now, showed their badge to gain access, while the other ones just broke down the barriers, and the police was like, I'm not dealing with this. It's not that important to me anyway.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. That sounds like good logic. I've also heard that a couple of the officers that were there trying to maintain and defend the Capitol with their life, they were backdoored by their superiors, meaning their superiors conveniently disappeared.
Yes.
As the mob, which, further leads you to believe that this was all a setup, this was all orchestrated. Someone's boss, a boss of another boss, was told to stand down, have your men stand down, and that's that. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. No. We all know, and it's even been said by the president, that if those perpetrators were black, they would have got shot down and gunned down. Period.
Sniped from the roof.
There's just no other way to look at it.
But there is one more way to look at it. The police presence would have been there in the first place. The thing is, you don't have to tell people to stand down. All you have to do is staff less police officers. On a day that you know something big is going to happen, someone was walking around the Capitol and said it looked like a weekend. In other words, there wasn't even as many officers as there normally is there when normal work is going on the weekday. So that's what happened. Is this stuff, the fish rots from the head down. You know, the orders were, we don't need that many officers. Whoever gave that order, that's how it was funded, and that's who they put on board. They didn't even have to tell anybody, well, just let them in. They controlled it. And this was something set up by the man in top and ordered by all of his minions to everybody below. Those police officers, I'm not going to say complicit. Most of them probably didn't know. I'm sure they were wondering to themselves, why the heck are there not that many people here?
Sad. That's sad because you set your own people out to hang.
Yeah.
You set your own people out to dry or to go through the meat grinder. That's sad.
It's ugly, man. But that's all. I mean, we've been beating this, dead horse. I guess the next thing is to find out, see what they do. Let's see what they do when it comes January 20th. I have a feeling they're going to try it again, and they're going to come more armed this time. I believe this was a dry run. That's what it looked like to me. Let's see how far we could get without guns. And if it's that simple and that easy, let's see how far we can get with them. Let's see. I hope that doesn't happen. I also hope that the police have learned their lesson, at least. I hope that it'll be stronger, but these are all just hopes. We're all living day by day to see what happens. This won't happen. I don't think it'll be as bad if we get this guy out of here by Wednesday. If we get him out of there, I mean, at least we'll have somebody who's a normal human being, even though he might be a bad person, running the show. That's it.
Yeah, man, very sad for the whole nation as a whole. It's just very sad.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. That's it. I mean, unless you got more to say, let's move to the hip hop, man.
Let's get it.
We'll do a transition. That's bad, but life does still go on. Playoffs are here.
Get that nasty Green Bay hat out of my camera.
I was fixing my hat. That's all I was doing.
Get that nasty Packers hat out of my camera.
It's got to get comfortable is the thing about it, man. I mean, it don't even match the red.
Nasty Green Bay hat out of my lens.
Well,
man.
there is a team whose logo happens to even be on this show that's in the playoffs. And there is a team that's not, unfortunately.
Nobody don't want to... Yo, man, nobody came to hear about the Packers, man.
Are the Giants in the playoffs?
Or the Giants have a Super Bowl in the last 10 years.
Okay. That's what's up. How about this? Arsonal versus Murda Mook. Intriguing, yes. To me, at least. We're asking a question, people. Type in. Write in. Let us know. This is the time where you ask us questions and we ask you questions. We're going back and forth. It's the conversation. But in all of my recording and getting ready and getting these battles up on Patreon and other things, there was something said that I missed. Arsonal versus Murda Mook was proposed, and I think Arsonal did not decline. For more information on this, please, D-Boy Slim, tell us what's going on.
So, this comes from, and this is not us just stirring up the rumor mill. This actually comes from an interview that I think outside of the caffeine event that Smack just held. Mm-hmm. After Arsonal battle, I forget the kid's name, which actually was a pretty good battle.
He was good. He was actually good.
He just caught Arsonal. He caught a buzzsaw in Arsonal that was, you catch Arsonal on his A game, and not very many people is going to be able to stand in front of Arsonal.
Yeah, especially with short rounds. Like, he can easily just dismantle whatever it is you're talking about.
Yeah, you catch Arsonal on his A game with a pin game and his energy. His energy is where it needs to be, and you hard pressed. I don't care who you are, to be honest with you, standing in front of Arsonal.
Right.
A question was asked to him, what about Murda Mook? And I'm not sure, if those rumors were tossed around or whatever have you. I think a couple of years ago that was entertained. I think maybe in Arsonal he had thrown shots at Cassidy for years and finally got that battle out the way. But I think it seemed like I remember hearing that a few years ago, maybe a Mook and Arsonal. But the question was asked to him. Wait a minute. Mook?
While D-Boy is giving us the news, y'all type in who wins that battle. Just that alone. Arsonal versus Murda Mook happen tomorrow. Who wins that battle? Go ahead.
And I found that to be very intriguing. Because, for one, and anybody out there watching, you can correct me if I'm wrong. As it stands today, I think Arsonal is still maybe the most viewed battle of all time. Two, I know every other battle he's talking about, he's retired, he's retiring, but he's still here. And he still has a lot to offer to the culture. being an OG.
Yeah.
And if there's two people that has actually helped pave the way and built the foundation of what we know as far as this battle culture, as far as battle rapping, and this aspect and this point, this part of hip hop, it would definitely be your Arsonal and your Murda Mook. Mook coming from all the way from the DVD era when Smack was just getting a name for himself. Mook was one of the people that helped him get that name. And as it went to the URL stage, of course, Arsonal put in a lot of work.
Oh, man. Not just that, Arsonal did so much work, he had to go get himself another league.
Yeah, you know, shouts out. He was doing the UW thing for a minute.
Yeah, man. I don't know if that stopped. I don't think it stopped, did it? But I know that it was his. And that's simply because he had beat everybody else, man. It was, let's be honest, you might have seen some people beat Ars, but that's because he battled 5 times and he won 4 every year. I didn't want to see Arsonal beat this other guy. Not that he's not good. I'm disrespectful in not knowing his name. I apologize. It's not meant to be. I just forgot it. My head's full of everything. But I don't want to see Arsonal battle no more unless it's goods. And then this came up and I said, or Mook. You know, this is what I think of Arsonal versus Mook. Get the battle music. Get the riot music. I'm on board. It's intriguing in a way that is that I haven't seen in a while. Not because, oh man, you know, these are 2 good ones coming together, blah, 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 but simply because how much you know, D-Boy, how much you know. I'm tired of seeing Arsonal beat Arsonal has nowhere else to go unless it's with the upper echelon. He beat Lux. He smashed these other guys who are good. I mean, it's not doing no service just to say other guys, they're good. The only people who he has left is the best of the cream of the crop. And that's Mook. Tell me where he lost. I'll tell you that it could have easily been a toss-up. That's what we need to see. I'm going stylistically now. You see, I want to know how disrespectful can Ars get with someone who doesn't have, as far as we know, any real yellow cards, red cards, any real stuff that you can pull up or say this and that. Like, you gonna talk about his kids or something? Like, that's old. What are you gonna pull up on this guy? And yet we know Arsonal will find a way to do it. That stylistic battle in itself just intrigues me. Like, I'm racking my brain to find out, what does he bring up? What does he bring up?
That's definitely, if we talking a basketball analogy, that's definitely Damian Lillard versus Steph Curry type battle. And I say that because what makes both of them top tier and such dominant battle rappers, one, their pen game is elite.
Yes.
That's the first.
Talk about it.
When you talk about somebody like Mook, and when you talk about somebody like Arsonal, sure, performance, like Bruce mentioned, style, which usually Arsonal style, he chooses to be as disrespectful as possible.
Yeah.
Sure, all of that comes into play and plays a factor. But at the very beginning of it, at the very top of it, is the fact that what they're saying, what they're articulating, is usually more elite than their opponent. So And I'm just really talking about rap skills at this point. Like, if they're rapping, when they rap, it's better. It's usually better than your rap. First of all. Second of all,
I got you, Goddess. Let him finish talking. I'll answer your question.
Second of all, you very rarely, those two are elite in performance-wise as MCs, because very rarely would you see a Mook or an Arsonal unprepared. And I learned with battle rapping, that's very heavy. Like, just coming in prepared, remembering your lines. Like, as simple as that seems, I see a lot of battle rappers, like when somebody stumbles on their rap and say, oh, there it, like, it's because of the fact, like, you're held to that standard of you're supposed to come in and handle your business, meaning you're supposed to be able to remember all three of your verses. You've had months to prepare, and you're supposed to come in there and remember all three of your verses. And very rarely do you see a Mook or a Arsonal that's not on the A game.
And that's the little things, man. We're talking about it's just like college football and NFL. The difference between the guy who can kind of throw decently, pretty far, can win a lot of games in college, but that extra inch, the extra study, the never making a mistake on third down, the blah blah blah, is the difference
You're gonna win more games.
Is the difference between Mook, Arsonal, Goods, and everybody else. That's it. That's
the common denominator.
That's it.
The common denominator.
Exactly. So sometimes, even when your pen game is just all right, if you come through with the three bangers and deliver, this is going to be so fire. And now we're acting like Goddess Isis asked the question, when is this happening? We don't know that it's even going to happen. What we're doing right here is trying to push the button. Hopefully Smack is watching. Arsonal,
Smack, set that up.
Set that up, man. Set it up. Nobody want to see Arsonal beat nobody else until it's Goods or Mook. Listen, we have to see this. We got to see it, man.
And let me just make one other point, and another attribute, and I'm gonna give you one other jewel about it. The reason, and I'm glad you put Goods in there. The reason why. Well, another reason I should say. Another reason what makes them who they are, and I'm speaking of Arsonal, Murda Mook, and even you can put Goods in the conversation. Not only, as I mentioned, their pen game is elite. Not only are they the ones that come in well prepared 98, 99% of the time, they're the ones that don't get rattled.
Ever.
When you give your best line or when you get disrespectful, when you spit your personals about their kids or about their moms or about, their jail or criminal history, whenever that is, you rarely see them get rattled. That's why when people talk about Goods, they always talk about his swagger. Because he seems to have an aura on stage while you're looking at him that seems impenetrable. It seems impenetrable. Like you cannot say anything that's going to get to him or keep him from saying what he has to say to you, which is probably, like I said, going to be better written.
Yeah.
In Arsonal's case, more disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Now, the thing about it is, let's talk about, I'm not even going to talk about, I'm going to pass by it in the subject. When you say, not rattled, there is one stipulation that Goods always has, and you can't talk about his daughter. So, to me, that I won't know. There's an asterisk on that, because everybody else gets their kids talked about by Arsonal, but you can't. That's what's up.
Yeah,
but anyway,
everybody has something in the contract that they say, well, what's going on? And I've heard that just by listening to enough interviews. They revealed that in battle rap. Before in the battle, there's before the contracts are signed, you have the option of telling the other opponent what's too far.
Yeah.
What's too far in the battle. And you see battlers, some say, okay, I will let shotgun pocket pocket tap me. Or somebody might say, don't touch me. K-Shine might say, don't touch me. Don't touch my hat. If you touch me, it's going to be 100 bloods on stage.
Right.
So, I mean, there's clauses in these. And that just happens to be Goods' clause or whatever in his contract.
Well, I want
everything's a goal. Just don't mention my daughter.
So I want to just pass by that. We can that's a conversation for another day. As far as Mook and Arsonal is concerned, who does it benefit more to not have the crowd there? I think they're both really great performers, but being a great performer and the stage presence is knocked down a peg when there's no crowd. Who does it help more that the crowd won't be there? I don't like to say it because I want Arsonal to win. I think Arsonal will win, and I'm rooting for Arsonal. But I think that not having a crowd there actually helps Mook more because Ars is just so much more animated and crowd friendly. Like that, he gets a lot of that because of his animation. It makes the crowd better, which eventually ends up always making him better too.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there, bro. I would have to agree with you there simply because that last performance we seen from Mook, he's so clever.
Yeah.
When it comes to schemes and verses and how he's pinning the verse, what he's talking about, content, subject, he's extra clever and witty to where Mook is one of those dudes. He doesn't really have to rely on personals. He doesn't have to rely on his street reputation. He can just outwit you.
Yeah.
He can out clever you. So yeah, I would have to agree with you.
Well, so can Ars though. That's the whole thing is the last battle that he did was different from the last battle that he did before that.
Yeah.
Totally different style, scheme.
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about? And he can do that on a dime just as good every time. Like, yo, this is going to be crazy. It's got to happen. Yo,
when he did it, it was executed right.
And it's always
executed right.
Because he came prepared. He's a professional.
Bottom line.
These two professionals need to go at it, man. Goddess Isis, thank you so much for commenting on this because this is really meant for you guys. I want to know if anybody else is still out there that hasn't commented yet. Say your piece. Who wins this, Goddess? Who wins this? If you saw this tomorrow and you had to predict for $1,000, who wins? I go. For $1,000. You go first. I'm still thinking about it.
Both of them at their A game. That's tough. I would go with Mook. Strangely enough, I would go with Mook. Like you said, if it's in a small room, I like Mook. Even in front of a crowd. You see, Bruce, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Even in front of a crowd, like you seen what he did to Lux.
Yeah.
He pulls out the tape, the reference tape that Bust and Lux did with Lux was dissing, but like he's so clever. He's so clever no matter what the circumstances. I would go with Mook.
Okay.
I would go with Mook. Because something about those big stages and the limelight being on them and it's something about that Mook. I would go with Mook.
I'm gonna say this. Who you got, Goddess Isis? That's what we're gonna end it with you. Tell us who you got. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go with Ars because the hot hand and multiple battles a year experience, if he comes at it with his absolute best game, absolute pen game, absolute marksmanship on the things he needs to cut him at, cuts him right. If you see Mook volley once, it's an Arsonal win. Simply because the standard is so high. You understand what I'm saying? If you see Mook go like this, it's automatically, what? Oh. and he has that momentum. He's been in the new style. The new style is what we'll call this. All the new cats coming. I mean, and he's got the experience, but he's been in the new style, multiple battles a year, gaining all this experience. I think he has the edge there, but it has to be 100% his best game, all 3 rounds, and he wins this because he can stumble him to 2 rounds. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
I think for that reason. See, that's why when people say that about Goods, I think the guy that doesn't battle as much as the guy that does stands at an advantage. I'm not sure. Maybe we look at it differently, but I think that guy stands at an advantage. Why? Because there's not as much to reference to when you're studying them. Whereas this guy's battled 5 times, there's a lot to pull from.
So yeah.
And I also think, like what you mentioned earlier with those two, there may be more personal that you can draw from Arsonal than there's not a lot of personal stuff out there about Mook. Like,
yeah.
it's just simply when you're gonna say T-Rex or the Dot, like whatever, like there's not a whole lot of personal stuff.
The thing about
Mook.
The thing about getting personal with Ars is you lose that. So you don't go that. You bring that up once or twice, but everybody said everything. Okay, the grape gang, fine.
The school bus driver.
The school bus driver. It said it's not that don't hit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that don't hit no more because once you do that, and then he beats you at that game for 3 rounds, you look even worse. So I don't think that Mook is coming like that. I think he's coming straight pen. Watch me out pen you. And outlast you and out sizzle you with the crowd. Like, even if there's no crowd, just watch me choreograph this battle into my terms. I don't have to find what happened to your son 5 years ago, or if you drove that bus, or your great gang. That might get mentioned, but I think he's gonna come with the outwitting, because he's like, I can be wittier than you. You might be able to get a few punches in on me, but I can be wittier than you. So that has to be his strategy. Has to be it. In my opinion.
Who's your top 3 battlers in the game right now, Bruce? Right off the top of the head.
Ars.
Yeah, here it is.
Who battled lately? Well, Ars, Mook, Goods.
Okay.
I mean,
that was pretty simple. That's who we just sat up here and talked about.
Right. I don't really know. K-Shine is,
For me,
K-Shine is up there, but your boy B-Dot.
Sleeping on the boy K-Shine, man.
B-Dot is up there. B-Dot, the new kid.
Sleeping on the boy K-Shine.
No, I don't sleep on him. Big K. B-Dot, the new kid. K-Shine.
You know what? That's it for me. Goods, Mook, and Big K.
Over Arsonal? You just
Goods,
tripping.
Mook, and Big K.
Now you're trying to get the debate show started. That's what that's all about. When in life was Big K better than Arsonal? Please help.
He beat Arsonal. Matter of fact, you might
please
want to
show me
into that battle.
No, you got to show me that. You got to show me that.
I showed you that.
When was that? I
showed you that.
No, I plead the 5th.
That was years ago. It was years ago. That's a given.
Okay.
But he still beat us.
All right. Well, I'll take a look at that before and see if I need to.
Look at that. I'm glad you asked me that.
But he didn't beat he didn't beat the Arsonal that just rapped though. He didn't beat that Arsonal. I can tell you that much.
I don't know, what do we say?
He didn't beat that Arsonal.
Somebody said, "Yo, how could you say Foreman, or how could you say that Frazier, Ali was better than Frazier?" Because he beat Frazier head up. Like, he beat him. That's why.
My man.
That's the whole.
He didn't beat this Arsonal that we just saw.
Nah, hey, wait.
He didn't beat this Arsonal that we just saw. Stop playing. Stop playing.
Hasn't even seen this.
Say it out loud. Say it out. What Big K?
Hasn't seen this Big K.
What Big K? What has he done? Who did he beat?
The one that ended Adi Boom's career.
Oh, that's a nobody. Look, Check it
You
out.
didn't hear?
That's a nobody.
He's a nobody now.
Now
that he's into this career.
No, I said that Big K's up there. I'm talking about the K Shines, the B Dots, my peoples. I love it. I love it. Yeah. But better than Arsonal, you're just tripping, man. Better than this Arsonal?
I'm sorry about that, Bruce. I know Ars is your guy. I'm sorry about that.
On that,
K already defeated Ars.
On that note, people, listen. You've been listening to. You've been watching. Yo, this feel like that boxing music. Come out here, you know what I'm saying? Put your sidebars and put your body in it. You know what I mean? I love it. Listen, man, you've been listening to Late Night Hip Hop Live. D-Boy Slim, Bruce Lively. Say your piece, D-Boy.
Yeah, that's it for me, man. I would like to see either that battle between Ars and Mook or maybe a Goods and Arsonal.
Goods and Ars is the only thing I wanted to see until they mentioned Mook, and I'm fine with that as a consolidation prize, because I don't think that Ars will ever agree to battle somebody who says that their kids are off the table. I just think he knows that that's what he wants to do. He knows that that's his bread and butter, and there's no way that you're gonna just try to take somebody's bread and butter, then battle them, tie the hand behind their back and then box them. I don't think he'll ever do it until that stipulation is gone. So as a prize, I love Ars Mook, man. I love it. And with that being said, people, Late Night Hip Hop Live every single Monday night at 10:45 or so. We were a little bit late this time, but you know what it is. We're getting it. Cheers.
We off this.